All right, welcome back to the show. So we've got a guest caller. And we don't normally do this, but I think it's important today because this particular caller has a special connection to this show. Caller, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, it's John Scott.
Are you serious?
This is John Scott.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Why would you surprise me, John? There are so many things I would have loved to prepare. Holy smokes.
Well, he's got his new book out, A Guy Like Me, so we thought, well, considering that he's doing his press tour, we take advantage and try to talk to him now while we can.
Wow. That is, hello. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well.
That's so cool.
So, John,
you told me it was my wife. This is not my wife at all.
Okay. John, it's All-Star Weekend where you are. You're in Los Angeles right now, and it's kind of got to be a little bit surreal for you because it's been an entire year since what went down and went down. Like, how are you feeling about it now, a year later?
It feels, it's nice. It's good to see the other side of the table. I'm here as kind of a spectator, a fan, and you can see all the preparations and the people taking care of the guys and stuff. So it's cool, but it's a little bittersweet. It was so fun last year. You kind of miss it a little bit.
Yeah, well, and I made a video today, and I mentioned you in it, not knowing you were coming on the show. I wanted like a wrestling thing to happen. Like I want you to be the special guest referee for the All-Star game. So what exactly are you doing there?
I'm just doing some book stuff and trying to stay out of the hockey guys' way. I'm not really doing anything. I was hoping they were going to do the shootout again because I was maybe going to do a surprise appearance with a couple of my friends, maybe help them out with the shootout, but they nixed that this year. So I'm just kind of being a fan, walking around, enjoying the city.
Did they nix that because of you, John?
I think they did. That's another rule they put in. No, it was just a coincidence.
So, for the game itself, do you have VIP tickets to sit next to Bill Daly and Gary Bettman?
I was going to go to the game, but I decided to sneak out. I'm leaving Sunday morning. I just kind of want to get away from it and not distract anybody. I did that enough last year, so I'm going to get out of town.
Fair enough. So, John, I gotta say, so I had a little bit more time to prep this.
Yeah, Adam's looking at me like, any questions? I'm like, no, because I didn't know he was coming.
I wanted to surprise you. I had to. John, I read a good portion of your book last night, and what I found interesting about it, and Steve's hating me right now. What I found interesting about it was, of course, the whole reason last year happened, right? You find out that you're, what is it, 70th or 72nd in All-Star voting, and then it keeps going up and up and up, and you kind of investigate. And all of the incidences that happened after that were pretty unbelievable. Like nothing like this has ever happened in league history. From the trade to you showing up at St. John's to the conversations you had with you called him, quote, Dick from head office, the NHL head office. I want to start from the beginning. Do you know how this whole thing started?
Yeah, the podcast from Puck Daddy and Jeff Merrick. Yeah, I've talked to those guys. It kind of originated there, and it just kind of gained steam after that because people picked it up, and the social media as it is, they kind of went wild with it.
Good, so it's not our fault.
Yeah. Well,
no, you guys are a part of it.
So the way that worked for us is we just, I don't know, we were just randomly talking about the All-Star game and voting, and I don't know, your name might have come up, and we said, let's vote for this guy. We didn't know that Greg and Jeff were doing what they were doing, and I saw Jeff the next day, and I just go, hey, did you hear our John Scott thing on the podcast? And he goes, yeah, wait, your podcast? And we kind of realized that we had the same idea at the same time. And then I looked at the voting, and you were like fifth, and I went, oh no, what has happened?
So it is partially your guys' fault.
Maybe.
John,
but for like the last year, we've been arguing with each other because after everything that happened, and we didn't know that there would be like this sort of.
We never expected this.
No, but we also didn't know there would be like a fairy tale ending, and it seemed to end up working out for you. But there was a while where it really seemed like it wasn't, and I felt horrible.
Yeah, it is funny. No one would have expected this. Like it's crazy how it ended up. Like it would just you'd never even in all the other.
Oh, John, you there?
Oh
God. Okay, I'm back again.
Oh, he's back. All right. Try that again.
Okay, I'm just teasing you.
So sorry, you start picking up from the beginning there. You never would have thought it would go this way.
Yeah, it's just like even in all the other sports, this is nothing's happened like this before. It's just so strange and surreal, and it's just weird. And to think that it happened to me, and then you guys started it, I appreciate that. But it's just a weird thing. Yeah.
Well, okay. So I want to go through it from our perspective a little bit here, John, just because I know that. Once you started to hit that top 5, top 3 in voting, you stopped paying attention to what people were saying because, hockey is an old boys club and people were outwardly ripping you for no reason other than the fact that people were voting for you. Like it wasn't your fault. And from our perspective, John, and I told you this when I talked to you on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, I was like, in Toronto, we hated you. We hated you because of what happened with Phil Kessel and David Clarkson. And it wasn't a personal hate. It was just like, you're another guy on another team and we just dislike what happened here. And what was amazing is literally a month after this whole thing started, you became literally our biggest hero in the game. And that is the most incredible part about this is the way you handled it, the way you handled yourself. We saw the guy, John Scott. We saw the guy that we could relate to, the guy who we could have a beer with, the guy that just is a legitimate family guy who just loves hockey the way we do and actually got to live out his dream. And I think, that's been, to me, the most interesting part for this to come out. But there was a time at which you didn't think that this was going to happen and you didn't think you could go through with it. Can you tell us, where you really felt like that was the moment where you're like, you know what, I'm going to pull out of this and I'm just not going to go. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think after I got traded from Montreal, from Arizona to Montreal and then sent down, I was just like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm just like, the whole time I was sitting there thinking, I didn't ask for any of this. Like I didn't start this movement. I haven't done anything. I wasn't supporting it. I wasn't trying to stomp it out. I had literally done nothing. I just been kind of sitting in my apartment, just watching this whole chaos just overtake everything. And I just was like, come on, okay, that's enough. I'm done. And so when I got to St. John's, I literally shut it down. I told everybody, like, I'm done. I'm not going. I'm sick of it. Just end it. Like, let's just move on, and I'll just try to salvage the rest of the season. Because it got to a point where it was just, like, chaotic in my life. My phone would not stop blowing up. People were just always trying to contact me. I was just like, this sucks, man. It's not fun. Like, hockey's supposed to be fun. I didn't sign up for this, and I was just ready to walk away at that point.
Now, what was the conversation? And this is what I found most interesting about it. What was you had a conversation with one person that turned you around on this, and can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was actually with Matthew Schneider, and he called me, wanted to let me know the situation, and he wanted to know how I was feeling, and I just said, I'm done, I'm packing it in, tell everyone, tell Donald Fear, tell Bedman, tell everyone that it's over. And he just kind of said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Not many guys could do the All-Star game, and there's a lot of people kind of supporting you, and they want you to do this, and the fans wouldn't vote for you if they didn't really like you. So, he talked me off the ledge. It was kind of cool because he's such a nice guy, a legend in the game, and it was nice to hear his perspective, especially at that point. I was just like so heated. I didn't want to talk to anybody. So it was cool to get his perspective, and he really just, convinced me to go, which was a good thing.
And forgive me, is he your agent?
No, he works for the NHLPA.
That's right. Okay.
So, and then he just kind of, Steve, it's unbelievable how unprepared you are. It's almost embarrassing.
What's great? If I prepared all week, he would have said the same thing because he would be right.
Oh, terrible.
John, God. Okay, so let me tell you, just because, we feel some sort of weird connection here. Part of it's guilt because we were part of the start, but part of it's like just complete respect most of it's respect, and it is because you stuck to your guns. And I can tell you that, the shows what we were doing at the time, we were, I was crossing my fingers. Steve was feeling guilty and sad. I was the guy going, no, John, do not stop. Keep going, keep going. And I was so glad when you finally got there. And I think the moment for me that it was like, yes, this is what an amazing, crazy story. Was when you scored that first goal and you had the best celebration I think I've ever seen in an All-Star game, dragging that glove on the ice. Can you tell me what that moment felt like for you?
It was very satisfying. It was almost like a big middle finger to everybody who was doubting me and just worried if I was going to be able to keep up and play. I was just like, all right, like shove that one. It was just satisfying. It was a good moment, just to kind of solidify that I could play in this game. Like there's nothing to worry about. I was, right all along. I could keep up with these guys, and it was a cool moment. I'm glad it happened right away, or else I would have been a nervous wreck the whole game. But it was a moment like you can't write it again. It was a cool little moment.
Oh no! It was like at that moment it was magic. It was magic.
Yeah.
And what was so cool was the look on your face when it happened, because I think, John, and I forgive me for saying this, but I think it's the look every single one of us would have had if we got to do the same thing. You lived our dream.
Total happiness. I was so happy.
Now, tell me about being lifted up by Brent Burns at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, unexpected. Burnsy's just, the guy's an animal, so you never really know what to expect from him. So that was typical Burnsy, just trying to, I don't know, he's just a good dude. I had no idea it was going to happen, and he just lifted me up, and that was cool. But right away, I just looked at him. I was like, okay, that's enough. Like, I'm not the smallest guy, and we're on skates, so let's just end this quick before it ends terrible. I'm landing on my head, passed out on the ice.
So I'm trying to ask these questions without giving too much of the book away, because there is that particular chapter, like, all the lead up and that sort of thing is amazing, but that particular chapter is incredible. There's so much about the trade that at the time we speculated on, and I don't want to give it all away, but the way that you were jettisoned from Arizona, and I use that
to
term.
literally an island.
Yeah.
They sent him to an island.
They sent you to a rock in the middle of the ocean. And I find it, I mean, when you read the book, it's going to blow your mind, and you can actually pinpoint the moment where I think Arizona's general manager may have lost the job. To be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like, and I don't know, John, if we want to talk too much about it, because I don't want to give away some of the surprises, but it seems like that moment really affected his career in a really not so good way.
Yeah, I just think she could have done a completely different job than what he did. I think he kind of caved a little bit and was, I wish he would have stuck up for his players a little bit more. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, it was, I didn't care for it. It was a bad situation down in Arizona. And
you had obviously the conversation with the league, which again we're not going to get into because I don't want to wreck it. It's so good, like guys, it's captivating. And what's great about it is that for guys like me who have no attention span, it's an easy read. Like you're right through it. It's great. You're going to love the inner workings of the league. But John, I have to ask about poor defenseless Phil Kessel. How could you pick on poor defenseless little Phil Kessel in a preseason game?
What's the matter?
What's the matter?
No, you can blame that on the coach, because before that whole incident happened, I went to the Leafs bench and I said, the next person you put out next to me is going to get their clock clean. And I said that to the coach. I said it to the whole bench, and I just sat there and stared at the coach. I said, put someone out. They had tough guys in the lineup. I said, okay, whoever you put on the ice against me, we're going, and I'm going to take care of business, old school. And he kind of puts out Phil Kessel and gives me a little grin. And I go, okay. I'm going to call your bluff. Like, let's go. And that's what happened.
That is amazing.
Like,
that's amazing.
Just what I remember of Randy Carlyle thing to do. You know what? I'm going to jeopardize Phil Kessel in a preseason game.
Yeah. And
I think he was like, okay, you think you're tough, Scott? Now let's see how funny were you going to play against Kessel. I was like, all right. If it wasn't preseason, I don't think I would have done it. But I was like, who cares? Preseason. Let's just go for it.
Wow. That's so great. And of course, losing Clarkson too. I mean, that's the ultimate troll moment. Clarkson jumped on the ice.
Oh my God!
10-game suspension.
I did you guys such a favor with that. Like, you got
Woo! Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember writing at the time, maybe this will be a blessing in disguise because like he was coming into the season. They had like all these posters like he's coming and like he was a Dragon Ball Z villain like coming to slay the Boston Bruins.
He's so tough.
Yeah, well, and what needed to happen was okay. Let's maybe chill for a bit. Let's bring him in 10 games into the season. And ironically, his first game was against the Blue Jackets. No, I was very wrong about that. John, you had this. So again, the crazy All-Star experience. But then you had some hockey games to play after that. What was the like kind of, I don't want to say hangover, but like was there like an all-star hangover from the time that experience ended till the end of the season?
Well, it's funny, after the game, I went back to Michigan and had the babies. So I was literally, after that last game, I think I didn't touch the ice again for at least a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, just because there was the AHL All-Star break afterwards, which is another 4 days, which I was a part of. And then I had the babies right at the end of that, and I kind of milked that for everything it was worth because I didn't really want to go back. So I was just like, yeah. They had to call me like a week and a half after the All-Star break. Like, are you coming back? What's the deal?
How was it playing in St. John's?
And I was like, okay. That was in St. John. They're like, okay, yeah, well, I didn't want to go on the road, so I was like, well, let's just wait, because they had a big road trip, and I was like, okay, let's wait till you come home, and I'll come back. But yeah, and that was fine. Like, I like playing hockey. It was good. I was glad the All-Star stuff was over, and we could kind of focus on hockey a little bit, and it was fun. I was getting good minutes down in St. John's, and, it was nice to kind of play 22 minutes a game and be the guy they go to and score some goals and get some assists and, play hockey.
That had to be kind of fun. Now, when the season ends, and this has been like one of the, again, like I said, the craziest events. And John, the game so many times gets in the way of itself and its own magic. There is a magic to hockey that we've all fallen in love with, but the rules and the bureaucracy and all of that tend to get in the way of these magical moments that were almost robbed of us, right? You going to the All-Star game being one of them. When you were done at the end of the season, did you know, okay, that's it, I'm done?
I had a good idea. I wanted to, if I wanted to play, there was only a few teams I would have played for. And so once those teams kind of said no thanks, I knew I was done. There was like offers to go play in other places, but I didn't really want to get into that whole thing again with getting sent down and so all the circus that would have been again this year. But yeah, I had a good idea I was going to be done.
So you're obviously an author now, and there's a movie getting made,
and a movie producer,
and a legend. I don't know if you can put that on a resume, but a
legend.
Can
that go on my business card?
It should
do it, John Scott, legend. But I remember reading I think it was your Players Tribune article, and you talked about, I assume your plans changed from when you made this, but at some point your hockey career would end, and I don't know, maybe you would work somewhere in Ontario, in engineering or whatever. What's the plan for the future? Is that still your plan?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I wanted to take this year off and kind of just stay at home and do that whole thing and just relax. But now I don't know. I'd like to do maybe some TVs, work with the team if possible. It's just I honestly don't know. I did some TV during the free agent frenzy there, and that was fun. And it's just something I think I'd enjoy. So if that's an opportunity, I'd love to kind of go that route, or maybe tag on with the team. I think I'm a smart enough guy where I can be an asset somewhere. But honestly, I have no idea.
What kind of role do you think you would want?
I would love to be a GM, to tell you the truth. I don't want to be a scout who kind of just drives around in Hobart towns and just looks at kids. I think I have a good management personality, but that's kind of tough to get into unless you're a superstar like Yzerman or Sakic or those guys. But who knows? I don't know. I haven't really put any feelers out, but I'd like to maybe try that.
Wait a second. Fill me in here. Where did you go to school again?
Michigan Tech.
Yeah, see, I think that would still be, I would be up on that list. I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm in, I'm interested. Wait, John, would you want to start AHL? Would you want to go right to the NHL? Like, does it matter to you?
No, not at all. I think if I can get my foot in somewhere, I think I would do a good job. Even if it's college, I would be interested in going back to my old school and, in there. I'd like to stay in hockey. It's a fun sport. I enjoy it. I think I got a lot more to give, and whatever field that is, I kind of like to pursue it a little bit.
God.
Yeah. Well, and how old are you?
34 now.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Dude,
old.
you got ridiculous amount of time. Like if you were 45, you'd still probably be like what, the youngest GM?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the one in Arizona is like...
Except
Chayka.
for Chayka.
Oh, he's like
Yeah.
14.
Younger than us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and he has you to thank for that job, though. So,
Yeah, really.
I know, right? He should throw me a bone at least somehow. Get me in there.
He should. John, I mean, we don't want to take up much more of your time because we know you're busy and I know you're on like this huge book tour and that sort of thing. And we just want to say partially that we're sorry, but
Yes.
partially that we're not sorry. And that you have become a hero, not only of a personal hero of ours, but one of our show, our listeners, and I think true hockey fans everywhere. When we talk about a guy who truly loves the game and a truly magic moment in the NHL, even though the NHL doesn't want to acknowledge it, this was one of those. And thank you for being the guy that you are on it, if that makes sense.
That's very kind. Thank you. I was just being myself. So thank you.
I got one more question, and I'd be upset with myself.
Steve, you're blowing it right
One more question. Just
You
one.
show up unprepared.
I know.
And right after our exit, you're asking another question.
I put up the finger. You knew. You knew. He didn't. But look, one of the biggest reasons I felt bad was I didn't know the time of your life you were in. I didn't even know your wife was pregnant, and your kids were coming right around that time. How are the kids?
They're good. We got the twins here in LA. They're doing well. Yeah, they were born, I think, 3 days after the All-Star game.
Wow.
So they were like, literally about to pop out. But they're good. Our family's doing well. We're enjoying life. So that's all that matters.
Busy.
Great. Good.
I hear twins are like, you have single kids, and then my friend he's like, I had a couple kids. He's like, and then I had twins, and that was a game changer for him. Like it seemed like he's like, I wasn't ready for that after 2 kids.
Well, yeah, we went from 2 to 4 really quick. But they're honestly the easiest kids. We couldn't ask for better kids. They're so easy.
Well, good parents, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, no.
John, we hope that the next time that you're in Toronto that you can actually come in and hang out with us in the studio. We'll buy you a coffee or a beer, whatever you want, and hang out and talk a little bit more just about the game. It's been such a pleasure having you on. Definitely buy John's new book, A Guy Like Me. It's such a great book. It's so great. Steve, don't worry, I have a copy for you. I will be
Good.
giving it to you.
Sweet. Oh, I can't wait to prepare for the interview I already did.
Yeah.
So, John, thank you so much for your time.
All right, guys. It was good talking to you.
Thanks, John.
Take care.
See ya. Bye.
So, how about that?
I thought it was SL.
Oh my God.
I thought my wife was coming
How
on.
about that?
How about that?
Cash John Scott. How about that? Cash made the All-Star game. How about that? Holy.
Did we get you?
Yes.
That was probably my favorite moment ever.
Hello.
How were you?
I don't know what I thought. Which one of you idiots booked that?
We did it together.
Adam just gave me the woman's email.
Yeah, so
Then we
Jesse booked
emailed
it,
her.
but I was the one, and I talked to John on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
he was on BT.
Yeah.
You suck. Like Jesus, Adam.
No, it was funny. It was
You gotta tell me these
It
things.
was Kipper. It was Kipper and John. on
And
the
then
same
Obama,
episode.
and then Trump.
Yeah. So Kipper and
And I
John.
got a Martian,
And so I was like,
Benjamin Franklin,
King
which was cool because he was
Tut.
dead. So he interviewed the guy who knew how to bring
That's
people
right.
back to life.
anyway.
Jesus.
We've been on it since last week, and Jesse and I have just been so excited. That's why we moved today's episode. We told Steve, full disclosure, that we had an all-staff meeting yesterday.
didn't have no
We didn't have a
meeting.
meeting yesterday. It was just so we could accommodate John, and we could get this interview on.
That's part of the reason I didn't think of any good questions. My mind was racing. I'm like, now wait a sec. How did they rearrange John? No, they lied. Those dirty lies. They lied.
We lied. We lied a lot. But we did it for you.
You know what? Cash me outside. How about that?